The alien girl only laughed when she saw me, but she doesn't know what I'm capable of. Her skin, a living jade, was the first impossible beauty this world offered, but it was the silent sway of her lekku that coiled around my very soul, claiming a forbidden devotion. My ship, the Pilgrim's Rest, was nothing more than a twisted metal scar against the ochre landscape, a smoking testament to the folly of solo deep space exploration. The emergency beacons were silent, the comms dead. Just me, the vast, terrifying emptiness of an uncharted world, and the ringing in my ears, a phantom echo of the catastrophic deceleration. For days, or what felt like days, I dragged myself through the strange, low-gravity terrain, a desolate beauty of jagged crystalline formations and bioluminescent flora that pulsed with an ethereal glow in the perpetual twilight. My only companions were the gnawing hunger, the thirst that rasped in my throat, and the chilling realization that I was utterly, irrevocably alone. Then she appeared, not walking, not flying, but simply there, emerging from behind a shimmering curtain of phosphorescent vines that clung to an impossibly tall, crystalline spire. My breath hitched in my throat, a dry, painful gasp. My initial thought, fueled by delirium and desperation, was that I was hallucinating. But the cool, dry air against my face, the strange, earthy scent that suddenly filled my nostrils, and the sheer, undeniable reality of her presence argued otherwise. She was tall, slender, impossibly graceful. Her skin, a luminous salad green, seemed to absorb and re-emit the ambient light, making her appear to shimmer with an inner glow. It was utterly flawless, smooth as polished jade, and utterly unlike anything I had ever seen. Her head was adorned with two elegant, serpentine lekku, thicker at the base, tapering to delicate points, coiling and swaying with a subtle, fluid motion that mirrored the dance of the glowing vines around her. They were a living extension of her, mesmerizing in their slow, hypnotic rhythm. Her eyes were immense, dark pools, reflecting the ethereal light of the world around us. They held an ancient wisdom, a profound depth that transcended species, and something else, something that resonated deep within my own soul, a profound, aching loneliness. We stood there, suspended in time, separated by a mere dozen meters. I, a broken human, covered in dust and fear, and she, an otherworldly goddess of green and shadow. No words were exchanged. None were needed. Her gaze, vast and unblinking, simply rested on me, and in that silent communion, I felt an immediate, powerful connection. It was not of attraction, not yet, but of recognition. As if she had been waiting. As if I had been waiting. She moved then, her steps silent on the crystalline ground. Her lekku swayed gently, almost imperceptibly, as she approached. There was no aggression in her posture, no hint of threat, only a quiet, measured curiosity. My instincts, honed by years of solo deep space exploration, screamed caution, but a deeper, more primal part of me was utterly disarmed. I was a child before an ancient deity, helpless and strangely willing. She stopped a few paces from me, her presence radiating a calm that seemed to quiet the frantic thrum of my own fear. Her dark eyes, unfathomably deep, seemed to peer into my very being, stripping away my defenses, laying bare my desperation, my exhaustion, my profound sense of isolation. Then, a whisper in my mind. Not a sound, but a thought, clear as if she had spoken aloud. "You are lost." I gasped, a small, involuntary sound. My eyes widened. Telepathy. Of course. How else could she have known? "You are hurt." The thought continued, a gentle current flowing into my awareness. And afraid. I tried to speak, but my throat was too dry, my tongue too heavy. I simply nodded, a slow, jerky movement. She took another step closer, her hand, slender and tipped with graceful, dark nails, slowly extended towards me. Her skin, even at this distance, seemed to radiate a soft, inner light. The lekku behind her head swayed, a mesmerizing dance that held my gaze captive. "Come," the thought whisper came again. Softer this time, laced with an invitation that bypassed my rational mind and went straight for my soul. There is shelter and healing. My mind, battered and exhausted, offered no resistance. Every fiber of my being yearned for respite, for connection, for an end to the crushing solitude. And her presence, her silent communion, offered exactly that. I watched, mesmerized, as her fingers, long and elegant, closed around my arm. Her touch was impossibly light, cool, like smooth river stone. A jolt, not of pain, but of pure energy, shot through me. It wasn't just physical contact. It was a connection, a bridge forming between our very essences. Her luminous green skin against my own rough, human flesh was an image burned instantly into my memory. I let her guide me, my legs strangely numb, my will entirely hers. We moved deeper into the crystalline forest, the glowing flora casting long, ethereal shadows that danced around us. The air grew thicker, richer, filled with scents I couldn't identify, but which felt profoundly ancient and calming. I was a puppet, and she, the silent, beautiful master, pulling the strings of my very existence. And in that moment, as her unique beauty enveloped my shattered senses, I realized I didn't care. I was no longer alone. And that, in itself, was a salvation. The concept of time became fluid, almost meaningless, within the deep, cavernous dwelling where she had brought me. It was not a conventional structure, but a vast, naturally formed geode, its walls studded with massive, glowing crystals that pulsed with a soft, internal light. The air inside was cool and still, permeated by a faint, sweet scent, like humid earth and blooming night flowers. My injuries, surprisingly minor for a crash of that magnitude, healed with a speed that defied logic, aided by strange, luminescent poultices she applied to my skin. She rarely spoke in the conventional sense, at least not with audible words. Her communication was primarily telepathic, a stream of thoughts, feelings, and images that flowed directly into my mind. Her voice, as I came to think of it, was a soft, melodious resonance, infinitely patient, always calm. It was a balm to my fractured psyche, a quiet symphony that slowly, subtly, began to reshape my understanding of existence. I learned her name, or rather, the closest human approximation of it, Lyra. It meant whisper of the stars in my own language, a fitting name for a being so ethereal, so ancient. She was, as I had instinctively sensed, the sole inhabitant of this world, the last of her kind. A profound loneliness clung to her, a loneliness so vast and deep it resonated with the core of my own isolation, forging an unspoken bond between us. Our initial interactions were simple, focused on my recovery and basic needs. She brought me sustenance, nutrient-rich paste that tasted of sweet earth, and water that shimmered with internal light, leaving a pleasant tingling sensation in my throat. She would sit with me for hours, her immense, dark eyes fixed on me, observing my every breath, my every tremor. Her lekku would sway gently, a silent, rhythmic dance that seemed to synchronize with the beating of my heart. In those moments, I felt utterly exposed, yet strangely safe, as if her gaze was a protective shroud. As I healed, Lyra began to reveal herself, and the mysteries of her world, in ever-deepening layers. She would project images directly into my mind, vivid, breathtaking panoramas of this planet in its prime, sprawling cities of living crystal, vast fleets of organic starships traversing the void, beings like her, countless and vibrant, living in harmony with the luminous ecosystem. She showed me their advancements in consciousness, their profound connection to the planetary energy, their mastery of subtle manipulations of reality. And then, the decline. A slow, agonizing decay. Not war, not plague, but a gradual fading, a loss of connection to the planetary essence. The cities crumbled, the ships lay dormant, and her people, one by one, simply faded, their essence returning to the planet, leaving only their crystalline husks. She was the last, a guardian, a repository of all that remained. This world, this beautiful, desolate planet, was her home, her grave, and her living memory. We drew too much. Her thought voice echoed in my mind one cycle, tinged with a profound sadness. We became disconnected. We forgot the source. I would ask questions, sometimes aloud, sometimes simply forming them in my mind, and she would answer, her responses often subtle, poetic, or through shared sensation. Her physiology was a constant source of fascination. Her skin, so luminous, so smooth, felt impossibly soft to the touch, and yet there was a strange, almost imperceptible coolness to it. Her lekku, those elegant headtails, seemed to be more than just physical appendages. They pulsed faintly when she communicated or when she was deeply connected to the planet. They were an extension of her being, capable of nuanced expression and sometimes a conduit for her subtle psychic influence. One cycle, as I lay on a bed of glowing moss, too weak to move much, she sat beside me. Her lekku brushed against my arm, a feather-light touch that sent shivers through me. It wasn't just skin on skin, it was a profound resonance, a merging of subtle energies. A wave of calm washed over me, a peace so deep it brought tears to my eyes. And then, a sensation of being utterly known, utterly understood. She didn't just touch my arm, she touched my soul. You carry much sorrow, her thought voice observed, gentle as a breeze. Much searching. I was always searching, I admitted aloud, my voice rough. For something, meaning, a place. And you found a world that is fading, she responded, her head tilting slightly, her lekku swaying with an almost mournful rhythm. And a life that is alone. You're alone too, I whispered, meeting her gaze. Her dark eyes, vast and ancient, reflected my own profound solitude. Yes, she acknowledged, a deep sadness permeating her thought voice. For eons, I have been alone, guardian of a silent world. It was in those moments, in the shared silence, in the gentle brushing of her lekku against my skin, in the profound empathy that flowed between us, that the forbidden connection began to deepen. My initial fascination, born of awe and curiosity, transformed into something far more intimate, far more profound. Her beauty was otherworldly, yes, but it was her spirit, her ancient wisdom, her profound loneliness that truly captivated me. I, a human from a bustling, noisy world, was drawn to the quiet majesty of this solitary alien, the last echo of a civilization that had transcended the physical. The idea of her being the last sent a pang through me, a primal human urge to preserve, to protect. But what could I, a single, broken human, do for a dying world, a fading race? You are here for a reason, John. Her thought voice suddenly interrupted my internal musings, startling me. She had read my thoughts, of course. There are no accidents, only patterns. You are woven into the tapestry of this world, now. Her dark eyes seemed to glow faintly as she spoke, and her lekku twitched, a subtle movement that conveyed a sense of conviction. A pattern, I whispered, my voice hoarse. What pattern? The pattern of renewal, she stated, her thought voice gaining a subtle urgency. The pattern of connection, of life returning to a dying world. You are the key, John. The spark. My mind reeled. The key? The spark? What possible role could I, a mere human, play in the fate of an ancient, fading world and its solitary guardian? The thought was overwhelming, terrifying, yet laced with an undeniable thrill. The profound allure of Lyra, her ethereal beauty, her ancient wisdom, her heartbreaking loneliness, was no longer just a fascination. It was becoming an obsession, and I was falling, willingly, deeper into her green embrace. The revelations continued, unfurling like the glowing tendrils of the indigenous flora around us. Lyra wasn't just the last of her kind. She was, in a profound and literal sense, the living memory of her world. Her consciousness was intertwined with the planet's core, connected to its geological formations, its unique ecosystem, and the dormant remnants of her civilization's technology. She was the planet's consciousness, its last guardian, and its last hope. As my physical strength returned, our bond deepened. The telepathic communication became more fluid, almost seamless. I no longer just received her thoughts, I felt her emotions, her longings, her ancient sadness. And she, in turn, experienced my own, the residual anxieties of my crash, the echoes of my human life, the nascent longing for connection that had driven me to deep space in the first place. This shared emotional landscape was intensely intimate, stripping away all pretense, revealing the raw, vulnerable core of both our beings. Our days were structured around her patient revelations and my attempts to comprehend the enormity of her existence. She showed me the source of her people's power, a vast, crystalline network that permeated the planet's crust, channeling a unique form of energy. This energy, she explained, was not merely power, it was life force, the very essence of consciousness, capable of sustaining and transforming. Her people had learned to harness it, to create their living cities, their organic ships, to extend their consciousness beyond physical limits. But in their hubris, they had drawn too deeply, unbalanced the flow, and slowly, irrevocably, severed their connection. The planet, once vibrant, was now fading, its energy reserves dwindling, taking Lyra with it. I am dissipating, her thought voice conveyed one cycle, a faint tremor of sadness in her mental tone. My essence is slowly returning to the core, but without the full activation, the planet will simply sleep and never awaken again. I watched her as she conveyed this, her luminous green skin seeming to pulse with a faint, internal shimmer, as if her very being was a delicate, fading flame. Her lekku, usually so gracefully controlled, drooped slightly, a subtle sign of her diminishing energy. The sight sent a pang through my chest, a fierce desire to help, to intervene. There must be a way, I urged, my voice hoarse. To reactivate it. To bring your world back. Her immense, dark eyes fixed on mine, holding my gaze with an almost unbearable intensity. Her lekku twitched, a slow, deliberate movement. There is a way. An ancient protocol. A desperate gamble. She projected images into my mind. Complex geometric patterns, flowing lines of pure energy, glowing nodes within the planet's core. And then, an image of a human figure, standing at the heart of this energy matrix, surrounded by swirling light, its essence merging with the core. The human figure was unmistakably me. The confluence, her thought voice explained, the term resonating with a profound significance. It requires a new spark, a unique frequency, a fresh life force that has not been touched by our prior imbalance. Me, I whispered, my voice barely audible. You mean? I'm the spark. Your energy signature is unique, John. Untainted, unburdened by the patterns of our past. You are pure. The word was a heavy weight, both a compliment and a terrifying responsibility. If you connect to the core, if you channel your life force, it can initiate the full recalibration. It can awaken the planetary consciousness. And it can save me. The implications crashed over me. My life, my very essence, was needed to save her world. It was a monumental request, a sacrifice of the highest order. My human mind, still grappling with the concept of telepathy and glowing headtails, struggled to process the enormity of it. But the obsession, the profound allure, had taken root. Her beauty was no longer just physical. It was a reflection of her ancient soul, her tragic purpose. The sway of her lekku, the luminous green of her skin, the depth of her dark eyes, it all spoke to a profound, captivating mystery that I found myself desperate to unravel, desperate to be a part of. The isolation I had felt for so long, both on my ship and in my life, was being irrevocably filled by her presence, by this shared, impossible connection. She began to prepare me for this confluence, for what she called the Great Convergence. She showed me specific meditation techniques, not to calm my mind, but to focus my internal energy, to make it resonant, receptive. She would sit opposite me, her lekku gently swaying, her dark eyes fixed on mine, guiding my thoughts, helping me to tap into reserves of consciousness I didn't know I possessed. As I practiced, I could feel a subtle humming sensation within my own body, a nascent energy stirring to life. Sometimes she would touch me, not just a casual brush, but a deliberate contact. Her hand, cool and smooth, would rest on my chest, directly over my heart, and I would feel a powerful surge of her empathic presence, a soothing current that quieted my doubts, replacing them with a profound sense of trust. Other times, her lekku would gently caress my cheek, a sensation that was both alien and exquisitely tender, sending shivers through me that had nothing to do with fear. It was a silent, sensual communication, a promise of something deeper, something beyond words. The merging will be profound, her thought voice conveyed one cycle, a subtle shift in her mental tone, a hint of something more intimate. Not merely of consciousness, but of essence. You will feel the pulse of this world. You will feel me. The implication of that statement, the sheer intimacy of it, sent a delicious jolt through me. To feel her, not just telepathically, but to truly merge, to become one with her essence, with her dying world. It was terrifying, yes, but also undeniably seductive. The forbidden connection, born of isolation and mutual loneliness, was now transforming into a profound, almost spiritual longing. I found myself craving her presence, her touch, the quiet comfort of her telepathic voice. The outside world, my crashed ship, my old life, it all seemed distant, irrelevant. This geode, bathed in the soft glow of alien crystals, with Lyra as its beating heart, was my universe now. One evening, as the crystals pulsed with a particularly intense light, Lyra stood before me. Her luminous green skin seemed to glow with an inner fire, and her lekku coiled with an almost vibrant energy. Her dark eyes, usually so solemn, held a rare, profound warmth. "The time approaches, John," she communicated, her thought voice filled with a solemn gravitas. "The planetary alignment. The window for the confluence is short. Are you ready?" My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic rhythm. Ready to sacrifice my humanity? Ready to merge with an alien consciousness? Ready to become a part of something I couldn't fully comprehend? I looked at her, at her otherworldly beauty, at the ancient wisdom in her eyes, at the subtle sway of her lekku that had captivated my soul from the very first moment. I thought of the profound loneliness we had shared, the exquisite intimacy of our bond. And I knew, with a certainty that transcended logic, that I was. "Yes, Lyra," I said aloud, my voice firm, infused with a newfound resolve. "I am ready." A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched her lips, and her lekku swayed with a gentle, triumphant rhythm. "Then prepare yourself, John. The embrace awaits." The words hung in the air, a promise of transformation, of a destiny entwined with hers, with her dying world. The forbidden connection had reached its zenith, and I was about to step across the threshold, forever changed by the profound allure of the last of her kind. The chamber where the great convergence was to take place was unlike any other part of the geode. It was a central cavern, immense and open, stretching upwards into darkness, its ceiling adorned with a kaleidoscope of larger, intricately branched crystalline formations that pulsed with an intensified, almost blinding, inner light. The air here vibrated with an energy that felt almost tangible, a low thrumming resonance that permeated my very bones. The sweet, earthy scent was stronger, mingled with an almost metallic tang, like ozone. At the very center of the chamber was a raised platform, a smooth, obsidian-like disc etched with complex, luminous patterns that seemed to shift and flow with the ambient light. This, I understood telepathically from Lyra, was the primary nexus, the direct conduit to the planetary core. Lyra appeared before me, her luminous green skin glowing with an almost blinding intensity. Her robes, usually a simple drape, were now adorned with shimmering, crystalline filaments that caught and refracted the light, making her seem to be woven from pure energy. Her lekku, usually so fluid, were held in a slightly more rigid, almost expectant posture, their subtle undulations more pronounced, conveying a profound sense of anticipation. Her dark eyes, normally deep and serene, now burned with an inner fire, reflecting the immense power she was about to channel. "The moment is upon us, John," her thought voice resonated in my mind, imbued with a profound solemnity. "The planetary alignment is precise. The window is brief." I nodded, my heart hammering in my chest. There was no fear now, only a singular, focused determination. The doubt, the human anxiety, had been scoured away by her patient guidance, by the overwhelming allure of her being, by the promise of true connection. My entire existence had distilled down to this singular purpose, to become the spark, to save her, to awaken this dying world. She extended her hand, her fingers, long and elegant, beckoning me onto the platform. Her touch, as I stepped onto the smooth, cool surface, sent a jolt of pure energy through me. The patterns beneath my feet immediately flared with an intensified light, tracing glowing lines up my legs, across my body, until I felt as if I was enveloped in a radiant, emerald aura. Lyra moved around me, her movements like a ritualistic dance, each step deliberate, flowing with an ancient grace. She stood before me, her dark eyes locking onto mine, holding my gaze with an unwavering intensity. Her lekku swayed, slowly at first, then with increasing speed, generating a faint, high-pitched hum that resonated with the burgeoning energy of the chamber. "We will merge, John," her thought voice echoed, deeper now, resonating with a profound power. "Not merely our consciousnesses, but our essences, our very life forces." She extended her hands, her palms facing mine, hovering inches away. I could feel the heat radiating from them, a shimmering aura of pure energy. Her luminous green skin seemed to pulse in synchronization with the crystals around us. "I'm ready, Lyra," I said aloud, my voice surprisingly steady, even as my entire being thrummed with anticipation. She smiled then, a soft, ethereal curve of her lips that transformed her ancient visage into one of breathtaking tenderness. Her lekku coiled gently, a silent gesture of acceptance, of profound intimacy. "Then let the confluence begin," her thought voice resonated. Slowly, deliberately, she pressed her palms against mine. The moment our skin touched, it was as if a dam burst within me. A torrent of pure energy, cold and electric, then hot and incandescent, surged through my body. It was not painful, but utterly overwhelming. My vision exploded into a kaleidoscope of swirling colors, emeralds, deep violets, shimmering golds, that danced behind my eyelids even though my eyes were wide open, fixed on hers. Her dark eyes, normally so serene, now blazed with an intensity that reflected the immense power flowing between us. I saw not just her eyes, but through them, into the vast, ancient consciousness of her world. I felt the pulse of the planet's core, a slow, rhythmic beat that synchronized with my own frantic heart. I tasted the minerals in the crystalline formations, smelled the eons of dust and starlight that had gathered in the geode. My senses expanded, stretched to an unbearable degree, encompassing the entire planet. Her lekku, now swaying vigorously, seemed to channel the energy, their motion creating faint, shimmering currents in the air around us. I felt their subtle touch against my face, against my neck, a tender caress amidst the overwhelming surge of power. It was a physical manifestation of her profound influence, of her deep, seductive allure. "Breathe, John," her thought voice urged, a gentle anchor in the maelstrom of sensation. "Feel the connection. Let go of your boundaries." And I did. I surrendered completely. The distinction between myself and Lyra, between my consciousness and the planets, blurred, then vanished. I was no longer just John. I was a conduit, a vessel, a merging of human and alien. Her memories, her ancient experiences, flowed into me, a torrent of understanding that reshaped my perception of time, of existence, of identity. I felt the joy of her people in their prime, the sorrow of their decline, the crushing weight of her eons of loneliness. And she, in turn, experienced my human life, my striving, my yearning, my desperate search for meaning. The energy surged, reaching a crescendo. I felt my own life force, my unique human spark, flow out of me, mingling with hers, channeling into the planetary core. It was not a loss, but a profound exchange, a giving and a receiving. I felt the dormant crystalline network within the planet stir, hum to life, respond to this new, untainted energy. The luminous patterns on the platform beneath our feet flared, expanding outwards, casting shimmering pathways of light across the cavern floor. The entire geode throbbed with an internal light, pulsing with the revived life force of the planet. As the energy reached its peak, I felt Lyra's mental presence intensify, her consciousness fully merging with mine. It was a sensation beyond intimacy, a profound communion that transcended species, transcended even physical form. We were one. Her wisdom, her ancient spirit, flowed into me, infusing my very being. I understood her purpose, not just intellectually, but existentially. I was no longer just helping her. I was becoming her purpose, a part of her, a part of this reborn world. Then, slowly, gracefully, the overwhelming surge began to recede. The colors softened, the sounds muted, the overwhelming sensations settled into a profound calm. The shimmering aura around us faded, though a faint, internal glow now seemed to emanate from my own skin, mirroring Lyra's. Our palms remained pressed together, but the intense flow of energy had subsided into a gentle, steady current. I opened my eyes fully, meeting Lyra's. They were still dark, still ancient, but now they held a profound sense of peace, a glimmer of triumph, and a deeper, more intimate connection. "It is done, John," her thought voice resonated in my mind, no longer an urging, but a quiet, profound statement. "The confluence is complete. The planet awakens." I felt it then, a subtle shift in the very fabric of the geode, of the world outside. A low, resonant hum, different from the energy surge, now permeated the air, the sound of a world slowly, steadily reawakening. The faint scent of new growth, of renewed life, drifted on the air. Lyra slowly withdrew her hands from mine, her touch lingering, a profound farewell to the physical merging, a welcome to the new, intertwined reality. Her luminous green skin seemed to glow with a renewed vibrancy, and her lekku, once drooping, now stood erect, swaying with a gentle, joyful rhythm. She was stronger, revitalized, imbued with a new life. And I felt utterly, irrevocably changed. I looked down at my hands. They were still human, but beneath the surface, I could feel the subtle thrum of the planetary energy, the faint pulse of the crystals. My senses were heightened, my awareness expanded. I saw the world around me with a new clarity, a deeper understanding of its interconnectedness. I was still John, but I was also more. A part of Lyra, a part of this world. She stepped back, her immense dark eyes gazing at me, a profound warmth emanating from her. Her lekku swayed, a silent invitation, a welcome to my new existence. Lyra, I murmured, my voice sounding richer, deeper, resonating with a subtle, alien quality. We did it. We are one now, John, she communicated, her thought voice a gentle melody. You are the guardian, the bridge. You are forever entwined with the pulse of this world. With me. The words settled over me, a profound truth. My old life, my human identity, felt like a distant dream, a faded memory. I was no longer a lone explorer. I was an integral part of this ancient, living world, connected to its last, beautiful inhabitant. The forbidden connection had blossomed into an eternal bond. The profound allure of Lyra, her luminous green skin, her elegant lekku, her ancient wisdom, had not just captivated me, it had transformed me. I had found my meaning, not in exploration, but in a profound, intimate merging with an alien consciousness, forever changed by the ultimate green embrace. My journey was over, and yet it had just truly begun. My new purpose, my new existence, was now inextricably linked to hers, to the beating heart of this reborn world.